And welcome to this practice of rest and restore, restorative practice for ourselves for the end. We are finishing our spring, coming into the summer. So, and we're going to do a bit of a grounding practice today, especially with the wind that we have outside. It's good to ground a little bit and to feel stabilized. So if you need to do modifications, please take the modifications that you need. There are going to be some hip openers. So Karen, those you will modify according to what you need to do. They are not belly downs, Elena, so we're good on that. And Liz, Jota, don't worry, I will resend all of the meeting details and you will have them. So we're going to start lying down on the floor, please. So lie onto the ground. And start breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting the whole body rest. And close your eyes. Feel what's present for you at the moment. We're currently in a new moon. So there is no moon in the sky today. It's a new moon on Gemini. So the new moon is the time where you can plant the seed for whatever you want to make grow in the coming cycle. So have a quick scan of the whole body. And if there are any areas that need to be released, just release them in your mind. And as you inhale, put an intention for your practice today. Wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Roll your head side to side. Bringing your head back to center. Bring your legs together and stretch your arms over your head, full body stretch. And relax. Bring your knees towards your chest and hug your knees, making circles with your knees in one direction and on the other direction. And then have each knee on each hand and make big circles outwardly and big circles inwardly. And then let your feet join together. And your hands can rest onto your lower abdomen or by the sides of the body. So we're in this Baddha Konasana posture. The soles of the feet are together and your knees are apart. This is the first posture in our Yin Yoga. We want to let the whole body You relax towards the floor. Letting the knees release down. And observing the breath. Observe your breath as you inhale and exhale. And maybe you will notice that your neck is not long, so you can bring your chin towards your chest. See if you can make your breath a little bit longer, coming onto your belly. And the main challenge in Yin Yoga is to keep the mind focused on what we're doing and try not to lend this time for our thoughts. Let them run away with what has happened or what will happen. And we're coming on to the last 30 seconds of this posture. See if you can release a little bit more. Release your jaw. Let the insides of your hips open up. And bring your knees together, feet apart. It's a contra posture for Baddha Konasana. And sway your knees side to side. Letting your abdomen stretch a little bit, your ribs, the sides of your hips. And bring both knees to your right hand side. Come up into a seated position. And bring your hands to your heart center, bow your heads. Namaste. So our next posture is going to be a supported bridge. Now for the supported bridge, you can use a block, a brick. If you don't have a brick, you can use a bolster or a cushion. You can have a cushion folded in half so that it's a little bit higher. So you want to give your hips a little bit of a lift. Not too high, Elena, just on the lower setting. Those of you that are, so the lower setting is here. Those of you that are taller, you might want a higher setting or even the very highest one. But you don't have to go very far. In yoga, we just go one step before too far. So you're going to lift your hip and either put the block or cushion underneath. And you're letting that inversion start working. So if you're using a cushion, you can also have a blanket to give you a little bit more of a lift. As I said, cushion folded in tall, and you rest in there. And we want to let the belly hollow. So you can shuffle your shoulders back and let your lower back get a little bit of a stretch. It's very, very subtle. So you can shuffle back and can rest your hands onto your belly or by the sides of your hips. You can have your palms facing upwards or with the hands down on your belly. Just bring that sense of arriving home. Welcome yourselves to yourselves. Welcome to this long spine, long neck. And feel the contrast between your supine Baddha Konasana, the posture that we were doing before, and this one. Maybe the insides of your legs are shaking a little bit because of the stretch of the previous pose. So can you find that middle point where your legs are just resting? You're reversing the flow of blood. Letting the heart rest. Letting the thyroid get a little bit of circulation and bringing that lovely blood into your face, into your brain. And today when I was preparing the class, and it was so windy outside, it just made me think about contrasts. And in Ayurveda, we say that like increases like, and opposites balance each other. So we can try and find, instead of that spirit of flying away, we can find this spirit of grounding, of being rooted to where we are. And we are coming into the last minute of this posture. If you wanted to, you can bring your arms overhead just to feel a different stretch on your chest and letting the lymphatic system run through the sides of the body. And by having your arms overhead, you will feel your diaphragm operating. Feel your diaphragm expanding as you inhale and contracted up towards your throat as you exhale. The diaphragm is this horizontal muscle that is like a sheet that moves up and down. Divides your thoracic cavity from your abdominal cavity. And bring your hands by the sides of your hip. Bring your feet closer towards your hip. Lift your hips and release down for a moment. And stay there. Rest your knees against each other and your feet apart. Feeling the effect of your supported Setu Bandhasana shoulder stand, shoulder bridge. And very gently, these middle poses are just to balance out. So make sure you have taken from underneath you your blocks or anything that was supporting you. We are out of our shoulder bridge. Great. And we're going to go straight into a happy baby. This is going to be just almost a contra posture So, yes, very good. Take everything out from your shoulder bridge and bend your knees. Now, if a happy baby is not available to you, you can hold onto your thighs, bringing your forearms underneath. Another option is to have a belt or a scarf over your feet. The idea on your happy baby is that you're opening the legs, giving space for your chest, and you're getting a gentle stretch on your hamstrings and opening your hips. We are not going to be for very long on this happy baby, so try to find a position where you can stay there and close your eyes. Breathing and letting your tailbone be long and away from you. Letting your lower back rest. And see if you can find your solar plexus, your diaphragm, feeling the movement of the diaphragm from this position. And last 30 seconds on this posture. And release, bring the hands underneath the knees. Make circles if you want to release your lower back or the legs. And then either bring both legs to your right hand side and then come up into sitting, or rock yourselves up into sitting. Wonderful. So these postures have been just a few minutes each. We're going to stay for a little bit longer when we come to our hip openers. Now the next one is literally about this contrast. So please make sure that you keep yourself warm. I'm using a blanket underneath my back to give me a bit more coziness. Because in yin yoga we don't do a lot of movement, it's better to stay warm, keep your socks on. All right, so the next posture is about contrast. And we're going to go from star pose into a recovery position, lying onto our left-hand side. So watch for a moment. We'll come onto the floor so that you can see my body totally on the floor. Star pose, we're going to tense and stretch arms and legs, and then let it go. And we're going to stay here just for 1 minute. And then we're going to bring the legs together and come into a recovery position or hugging yourselves for 1 minute. And then we're going to come back into star pose, tensing and releasing. And then come back into a recovery position. So we're going to repeat it twice. It's going to be, the whole sequence is going to be about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 6, depending. But I want you to just try and get completely in that posture. When you lie on your left side, you're going to be opening the right nostril, which is the sun channel. So that might bring a little bit more heat into the body. And you might get some thoughts, some rational thoughts. Just observe it wherever it happens. If you ever wanted to have more creative dreams, then you sleep on your right side and your left nostril will open a little bit more. This is for lucid dreaming. Okay, so when you're ready, let's do it. Make sure that you're comfortable, that maybe you have a blanket underneath your back, and lie onto the floor. Make sure that there is room as well for your legs to open up. This is Tadasana, it's a star pose. So we are not just doing Shavasana, we are doing the starfish. Just imagine when you finally get a super king size bed in a hotel and you want to spread completely. So lift your head, lift your arms, lift your head, tense your fists, point your toes, tense, open your hands and release down. Just feel the contrast between the tension and the relaxation. 1 minute. See if you can keep your attention on the breath for a whole minute. Where is your mind? Only 45 minutes passed. And that's 1 minute. Bring your knees towards your chest and very gently, can you come into this recovery position? We're going to take 1 minute here. So make sure that you're cushioning your head with your hands. Feel your hip on the floor. Your left hip is on the floor, your left shoulder. And see if you can picture your spine. Is your spine comfortable? Maybe you need a little bit more support under your head. You can take it from a cushion or a block. And focus on your breath again. And a minute just passed. So turn back onto your backs and tense your arms, tense your legs. Open your arms, open your legs. Your hands are making fists and release down. Let go of your fists. Come into this starfish pose. Spreading your arms, spreading your legs. Maybe you can let your mouth open a little bit. Can you voluntarily relax all of the muscles on your face and your jaw, your scalp and your forehead? We have 30 more seconds. See if you have any images coming to your mind. And bring your legs together. Bend your knees. Come into your recovery position. And feel how this might be different. What is your dominant nostril right now? Can you feel your right nostril taking the air in all the way through your body, bringing warmth, bringing the spirit of yang, the opposite of yin. And very gently bring yourselves up into sitting. Lovely. And we're going to do the cat-cow. So if you can't go on your knees, if your knees are painful today, then you're going to do the cat-cow cross-legged. Chin to chest and then open up. And chin to chest and open up. The rest of us that can do it on our hands and knees, make sure that you have a little bit of cushion. In Yin Yoga, we want to have a no pain philosophy. So just be as comfortable as you can be. Middle finger pointing forwards. Inhale, open your chest. And as you exhale, arch. And bring your chin towards your chest. Arching your back. Inhale, open. Exhale, arch. Inhale, open. Exhale, arch. Pushing up towards the sky. Good. So if you are not on your knees, if you are seated, you're going to bring one hand back and just make big circles with your right leg. If we are in all fours, we're going to bring the right leg to the side and make big circles in one direction and then on the other direction. Lovely. And now for the next posture, you will need to come a little bit on your knees. So Karen, if you need to support your leg, if you can't be on your knee, you can put a block just underneath. And as you can see, my leg is just flying in there. Or a cushion or something else. So I'm resting my thigh. I'm resting the block on the thigh here. Okay? If you're okay with the knee on the floor, just use the knee on the floor. The block can also be used to give you a little bit more support. So we're going to start with the foot, the right foot outside the hands. And you can have your hands onto a block, onto a chair, wherever you need it. If having your hands between your legs is too demanding for you, then you can have yourself a little bit higher up. Good, everybody's looking in the right position. Those of you that I can see, some of you are a little bit dark, but just work with, thank you, Ellen. Just work with care, trying to open your chest. Now, if this is enough for you because you're sharing the weight onto your hands, stay there. If you want, you can also bring yourselves up and just let your hip go forwards a little bit. You know, as it comes for Yin Yoga, this is quite a deep posture. We're trying to open the hips. Lovely. And if this was enough, you will stay there. If you can come lower down, You can have a block to help you in the middle. So maybe one arm comes onto the block, the other one comes onto the floor. Or maybe you can bring both forearms towards the ground. The back leg is long, so if you needed to pad it, you can pad it. And bring the forearms onto the ground. You can also bring the right foot onto its outer edge. So the sole of the foot is facing upwards. And this will give you a little bit more opening on your hip. So you can have the foot facing upwards and the knee falling away from you. And let your hip come forwards as much as you can. That's it. So in your sequence you will have 3 postures. They are all related. You can stay on the higher step. You can come with your elbows to the floor. And the last bit of these postures to bring the hand onto the knee, the right hand onto the knee, and look over your right shoulder. So we are pushing the right knee away from us and looking over the shoulder, having a little rotation on the upper body. So we are not rotating from belly, we are rotating from the upper body. And breathe. And release, bring your chest up, bring your right leg back. If you can't be on your knees, just come onto sitting and sway your knees side to side. If you can be on your knees, you might want to do circle with your hips and change direction. Lovely. So now we want to do the same on the other side. So being in all fours or seated. If you can't be on your knees, you will be resting here. And this time your left leg will mobilize to one side and then the other. Otherwise, come into all fours and make this doggy marking his territory type of posture and change the direction. And bring your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Remember, on this side you can have the same options. Cassie, you might want as well this if you need to, just to pad the knee. So you don't need to have the knee fully on the floor. You can have a block or a cushion, just cushioning the back leg so that the front can release. I hope you can see it clearly. So to start with, we're going to start high up, pushing the hips forwards and breathing. And then see if you can come towards the floor. You can use the block to support. Normally the inner arm is the one that is more difficult to bring onto the floor. So you can have a cushion or a block inside, maybe none, maybe you stay there, maybe you bring your forearms onto the floor and the outer edges of the foot on the ground. And breathe deeply, making this transition gradual. You can always be a little bit higher up if you need it to. If this is completely impossible, Karen, you can do the deer pose with both knees on the floor. Like this. To 90 degrees, and then you lean over. Okay? Lovely. So we all need to work with our situations. See if you can bring yourselves into a twist. If you are higher up, you can bring your chest around into a higher twist. If your forearm is on the floor, then you open up towards your knee from here. Looking over your left shoulder. Wonderful. And very gently bring yourselves up. And bring your leg back. So you can choose which way you're going to release, either with your hips on the floor or come into all fours and make circles with your hips. Lovely. And bring your legs back to center. Shake your legs. And have your feet forwards. We're going to do the shoelace or the cow's face. And you have two options. You can either bring your right knee over the left, and that is all that you do. Or you can also bring the left leg back towards your hip. And that's a lot stronger on your hips. So for me, for today, I'm going to do it with just one leg crossed over. Right leg over left. And breathe deeply, feeling long in your spine. We're going to bring the left hand to the left-hand side. Bend the elbow and open up the right. We are just going to be here for a little while. If you wanted to, you can rest your elbow onto a block or onto the floor, trying to keep your hips towards the floor. If they come off the floor, don't worry too much about it. Relax the arm. In yoga, it's not about looking pretty, it's about just letting side body open. You can rest your hand behind your head as well. We're letting the fascia, the membranes around the muscles, open up and release. See if you can open your ribs a little bit more. And 30 more seconds. Release your hand just in front of you, and you can bring your chest forwards as you lean towards your knees. Releasing your lower back, hugging your right knee, letting your forehead go towards your knee. Walk your hands back towards you. Release your hands behind and cross your legs and sway your knees side to side. Lovely. We're going to try the other side. So sit comfortably I'm sitting on the blankets so that I have a little bit of lift on my sitting bones. And also the blanket gives a little bit, so I have a bit more comfort in there. Your legs can be the right leg forwards and your left knee crossed over, or both knees bent and your legs are into a shoelace or cow's face, half cow's face. It's your choice. This one is a lot more effort than having the leg forwards. So I will keep it the same as on the other side for me. And bring your right hand to your right hand side. And bring your left arm up. Open up the side body. Letting the elbow come down towards the floor. You can put a cushion underneath your elbow or a block. And maybe you can even rest your hand behind your head. Letting your hips and your ribs open up. For those of you that were doing the big pose with Wild Thing this morning, this is a good unwinding posture to get out from that demanding pose. Last minute on this side. And very gently bring yourself up and cross the legs. Bring your hands behind and sway your knees side to side. Lovely. We're nearly onto our Shavasana. Before we go into Shavasana, I'm going to invite you to come into a child's pose. I know we're sort of getting a bit sleepy, and that's because we're grounding. We are calming the nervous system. So for your Shavasana, I want you to have either a couple of cushions or even more. You can make a little towel, build a castle. And then let yourself release onto the cushions. Your knees are apart, your toes are together. If you feel like stretching your inner thighs a little bit more, you can open your knees further apart. And breathe deeply. If there are any issues on the knees and this is not comfortable at all, then lie into your Shavasana already. Lie facing up, lying on your back. And close your eyes. Feel the breath expanding between your shoulder blades, expanding at the back of your ribs, reaching all the way towards your kidneys and your hips. Turn your head to the other side. And keep your attention on your breath. gentle twist on your neck. But your body is totally relaxed. And we're entering the last minute of our child's pose. If you want, you can bring your head to center so that your neck is not twisting either side. Maybe you want to take some cushions out from underneath you and just feel the stretch of the whole child's pose. It is your practice, so you can choose what you want to have, how you want to do it. And lift your head, walk your hands back towards your knees. We're going to find our Shavasana. So if you wanted to, you can have your Shavasana facing upwards and maybe bring a couple of cushions underneath your thighs so that your lower back is relaxed. You have an option, everybody except Elena, to turn around and have a Shavasana facing down. So if you're facing down, you can have one knee bent and the arm that is around your head will be also bent. Or you can have your belly down, your toes towards each other. Whichever position you prefer, you can take. When we're facing downwards, is a little bit more protected. It's a little bit more grounded. Choose whichever position you want to have. And because you're at home, you can even lie onto your sofa, lie onto your bed. And as this is yin yoga, and there is nowhere to be, nothing to do apart from being here now. If you wanted to continue your relaxation after the close of the class, you can do that. You don't need to get up. Bring your attention to your toes. Relax your 10 toes. Relax the soles of your feet and the tops of your feet. Relax your ankles, calf muscles and shins. Relax the front of your knees, the back of your knees. Relax your thighs and your hamstrings. Your hips are open and relaxed. Relax your tailbone, lower back, middle back, upper back. Relax the back of your neck. Relax your belly and your chest. Relax the heart inside your chest. Feel the wave of relaxation going down through your arms. Relaxing your elbows and your forearms. Wrists on your hands are relaxed. And relax your neck, Relax your scalp and your forehead. Features in your face are relaxed. And finally relax your brain. Your whole body is now relaxed. But your mind remains awake and aware. And go within. And from where you are, you can observe your breath. Don't try to modify it or change it in any way. Feel the contrast between the temperature of breath as it comes into your nose and out of your nose. Feel how the breath turns into a sensation of expansion as it comes in all the way towards your lungs, pushing towards your abdomen. Then this expansion becomes a contraction as the air comes out. And the warmth of the air coming from inside your body tickles the top of your lips. See if you can sustain this breath without changing anything. Just observe, inhale, and exhale. Contrast between cold and hot, between expansion and contraction. And we're reaching the end of our practice. This is where you have a choice to either take a longer Shavasana and stay on the floor and listen to the chanting, Or you can wiggle your toes and your fingers and then come up into seating to close the class. Whatever you do it mindfully. Trying to keep your eyes closed. If you're joining me on the Oms, inhale to begin, inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Bring your palms together. Rub your palms. And place your palms over your face. Inhale deeply. Open your eyes to the darkness of your hands. Slide your hands to your chest.